Hey everybody, Melinda Pollen, Dawn Vandevort, Megan Suring, and Jill Jorgensen. We are four 4-H youth development educators, and we are here to talk with you a little bit about mindfulness. Have you ever had a day, those days when you just can't figure out how to calm your brain down or to settle a racing heart because we're anxious or really excited about something? We are here to give you a couple of tips to help us through what we call in 4-H world mindfulness or recentering ourselves. We're going to give you a couple of tips, a couple of activities. Thanks for getting the kit with us. And so Megan, can you start with telling us a little bit about what mindfulness or recentering yourselves really is about?
Yeah, I think it's really important that we have a shared language around mindfulness. So, for today, and when we're discussing mindfulness and extension, we want you to think about paying attention on purpose in the present moment and non judgmentally. So, it's just that paying attention to yourself, your surroundings, the physicality of what's happening, as well as all of the thoughts that we have going on in our head. One really neat way that we can take a look at ourselves introspectively is by doing a body scan. So if you're able to, I would like you to join me in this short journey. Um, what would be great is if you want to sit in your chair, kind of put your back to the back of the chair, put your feet flat on the floor, relax your arms. I do have a bell I'm going to ding as we begin. The other thing that you can do if you're not getting comfortable in a chair is that you can actually physically lie on the floor. Okay. So almost like making a snow angel, make sure you have some room where you're not touching anything. And let's go ahead and get started. All right. If it's comfortable for you, go ahead and close your eyes. If it's not, just let your gaze fall to your feet or towards the floor. Listen and follow my instructions as best you can. Try to stay awake and alert. But do know that some people may drift off to sleep. Remember to breathe completely and let the breath flow freely into and out of your body. When you notice your mind wandering, as it will, gently bring it back to focus on the instructions. Now, become aware of your belly rising as the breath moves into your body and falling as the breath moves out of your body. We're not controlling the breath in any way. We're just letting it find its own rhythm. Feeling your body sink deeper onto the floor or into your chair on each out breath. Now, on the next in breath, direct your attention all the way through your body to the soles of your feet. Become aware of your toes, the arches of your feet, the place where your heels meet the floor. Notice any feelings in your feet, any warmth or coolness, pressure, tingling, or tightness. And now, direct your breath to your feet, imagining that you can breathe right into your foot. First, into your right foot. And now, breathe into your left foot. And on each out breath, let go of any tiredness, any tension, right from both soles of your feet. Now, let's gather up our attention and move it away from our feet and focus our attention on our legs. Let's notice any feelings in our legs, being aware of the skins, the bones, the muscles, perhaps the pulsation of circulation. Is it warm or cool? Now let's notice the contact your legs make with the chair or the floor, allowing our attention to explore any feelings in this part of our body. On the next in-breath, let's use our attention to direct your breath all the way down your entire left leg. Next, breathe down your entire right leg. Now let's direct the breath down both legs, breathing in relaxation and breathing out any tiredness or tension. Remember, whenever we find our mind wandering, which it will, just let go of the thoughts as gently as you can, like a bubble flying into the sky, and come back to focus your attention once again on your body. Now, let's move our attention to our lower back, just observing any feelings in this part of our body. Perhaps tightness, tingling, aching, any feelings at all. And allow your attention to move slowly up your back, all the way up your spine, so that you are aware of each vertebrae, aware of the muscles, aware of the skin on your back, aware of your contact with the chair or the floor. And on the next breath, breathing into the whole back area, we're going to allow our muscles to ease and release with each breath, letting go of any tiredness or fatigue and breathing openness and relaxation into our entire back. Let's move our attention now to our belly. Feel the movement of the abdomen as it rises and falls with each breath. Take a deep breath in, allowing the abdomen to really expand on the in-breath. And then release, breathing out, and noticing that feeling of our abdomen deflating. Let's move our attention up to the chest area. Be aware of the heart, the lungs, aware of the movement in our chest, perhaps aware even of our own heart's beating. Let's breathe into the chest and abdomen, breathing in new energy and letting go of any tiredness or tension. Now let's gather our attention again and focus on both arms and hands. Let our attention come to rest on the fingertips in both of our hands. We want to be aware of any sensations of tingling and air touching our fingertips, possibly feeling moisture or dryness, being aware of the sides of our fingers, our knuckles, the palms of our hands, the tops of our hands. Now let's move our attention up to our arms, allowing it to settle on our shoulders. Notice your muscles here, really exploring any sensations in your shoulders. Perhaps burning, tightness, tension, heaviness, or lightness. Just breathe deeply into those shoulders, releasing any concerns and allowing your shoulders to completely soften. Next, let's draw our attention to our head area. Notice any feelings at the top of your head, your forehead, your eyes, your nose, your cheeks and mouth, your jaw, teeth, and your neck. As best as you can, notice any and all feelings in this area of your face and head. Then, letting the next breath fill this entire region of our body. Let's breathe in new energy and relaxation, and breathe out any tightness, any tension, and any fatigue or tiredness. Now open up our awareness. Let's see if we can feel our breath moving easily through our whole body as you lie here or sit here. Notice the movement of breath from your head to your feet. Notice how the breath moves freely and easily from your feet to the top of your head. As we conclude this practice, be fully aware of your body as a whole, complete, strong, and at ease. Thank you for joining me on that journey. Remember, we use these tools and we practice. So, the first couple of times we do a body scan, it can be really difficult to keep those sticky thoughts from coming back into our head. But remember, practice makes perfect, and we're not even aiming for perfect here. We just want to practice it so that we're in tune with what our body is telling us.
Megan, I felt my shoulders relaxing, like right here where I hold. I don't know about any of you all, but that's where I hold a lot of my tension is right through here. And I felt like my shoulders actually dropped a little bit. Thank you for that. I'll also say, so you said practice makes perfect. I always strive for practice makes better. And so we'll always get better. I'm never going to be perfect. And so just as you continue to down your journey of self-centering, just always aim for just a little bit better. Thank you for leading us through that and for kind of grounding us in what it means to be intentionally present in that form of mindfulness. So that took a couple of minutes, everybody, to do that body scan. And if we have a few minutes, that's great. But sometimes I'm getting ready to take a test, or I'm getting ready for a presentation, and I'm in a school building and I might not be able to take a long time. And Jill, you have a technique that kind of helps us recenter ourselves in a way that not everybody knows that we're even doing it.
Yeah, so Melinda, there's a technique that you may have heard of, or maybe you haven't. It's called box or square breathing. So there's going to be a handout in your packet that you get that has this and a few other things on it. So this is one of them. One of the tools that I've often used when I work with young people or adults is I'll talk about squaring up. So even if we are in a space, I'll say, you know what, square up. And that's something you can actually do physically with your fingers. So after you've done this for a while, sometimes people will say, I can do this with my fingers. Yeah, just like that. Good job, everybody. So square up. And that doing this motion will remind them to stop for a second and take a breath. So square breathing really takes about 16 seconds. And I always say it's good to do this 2 or 3 times. So it actually is only 4 parts. So it's pretty easy to remember. And it's actually what you do all of the time when you breathe. We're just going to slow it down a little bit. So the 4 parts are inhale, hold, exhale, and rest. So you start with, and if you guys want to do it with me, we're going to inhale that big deep breath for 4 seconds. We're going to go inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now you're going to hold that breath for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And exhale that breath for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And now rest for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So what I find is I do this 2 or 3 times. So that's square, as you're seeing. So you're doing things for 4. So it makes up those 4 sides. So that first one is we're going to inhale for 4. Then we're going to hold for 4, right? That's the second part of my square. I'm going to exhale for 4 and rest for 4. So that's going to make your square. So I often do this until I feel like I'm a little bit better. But I love this because if I am going to take a test, if I'm in the middle of a line, if I'm in a huge crowded space and I just need to get back to feeling a little bit okay, I can do that. Nobody's going to know because you inhale, you hold, you exhale, and you rest. And it goes as fast as that. So do that 2 or 3 times, and that will hopefully get you back to center if you're in a place where you're just like, man, that test today, or I'm going into a crowded room and I'm uncomfortable, or I'm standing in this line and I'm not feeling quite like myself. That's a really good way to start that. It's also a really good way to start before, even if you're going to do a body scan, it'll bring you down a little bit, and then you can bring yourself into a place where you can do your body scan. It'll feel a little bit more comfortable. So that's one thing that I think you could do. I know, Dawn, you had another thing I think is really, really helpful and really fun. And one of those things that I just need to recenter in a little bit different way. So we've talked a lot about breathing. So I think the one you're going to talk about has a little bit more visual mindfulness to it.
Yeah, so this one is one that I like to use. Its formal name is controlled distraction, and I like to think of it as kind of an I spy game. So when my brain gets like buzzing and I can't focus on anything, or I'm just super anxious about something, and I just need a second to like calm all the thoughts down and kind of just recenter and refocus, I use this I spy game to really help kind of bring it back to center and bring it back together. So it's really just kind of looking around your surroundings and finding something to focus on. So if I'm in a building or in a school or somewhere, I can count like the number of lights I see, count the number of desks I see. It helps my brain really focus in on one thing. It's a visual technique. Another thing you can do that's not visual with it, if you're kind of feeling anxious and buzzy, I have some favorite songs that I love to sing. So in my brain, I won't sing out loud, I promise. But in my brain, I like to kind of hum that song in my brain. It helps my brain just sort of calm back down, focus on that one thing that I have control over, and really recenter. And so, like the one Jill shared, like the square breathing technique, this is another technique that you can do and no one knows you're doing it. It's right there in your brain, you're helping refocus, and it's not something that it's visual to other people. It's just something you're doing personally and internally that helps you sort of bring it back to center. So something really simple to think about. Music or kind of grounding in your surroundings is a really easy way to help bring it back.
And what I think is really important is that you're just taking your mind off of the thing that's causing you the thought that you don't want in your brain anymore, right? So
Hmm.
instead of thinking about the test, now I'm thinking about the song or
Hmm.
how many lights there are in my classroom. It just as it's a trick to your brain to have it focus on something else so you can
Hmm.
calm and maybe not be so anxious about the thing that's causing you anxiety.
Yep.
One of the things that I actually have them in every space that I work. I have a jar that looks like just a jar until I shake it. And then it gets all glittery and magic. It's actually called a glitter jar or a glitter container. There's lots of words for it. I like to call it my mud mind. Sometimes when I'm in meetings or I am trying to figure something out in my brain, I can't get through my thoughts as quickly as I'd like to. And it kind of reminds me of trying to look through that. It's hard to see through this when my brain is trying to process so many things. Like I go from so many to another, so many things that need to get done. But if I can figure out how to calm my brain down, and you'll see if you watch that glitter starts to settle, and you can actually see my wall behind me. It's those pictures are kind of coming into picture there, and you can see through it. Now I can literally see through this. You can see my pretty glasses and eyes right there. So in your kits, we are actually giving you all of the supplies to make your own. Because what I find when I start to get a little anxious about something that I've got to work on, if I shake and shake and shake, it gets my body moving. And then I get to calm down and watch this settle down. So it's a combination of calming my mind and physical movement. So in your kits, you are going to get all of the information that Jill talked about, some reading techniques, some different breathing techniques. You're going to get an I Spy kit that Dawn just talked about, and you're going to get a bottle of water, a little container of glue, and a little container of glitter to make your own glitter jar. And so all you're going to do is I took the label off my bottle of water, so I'm going to open up my bottle of water. Y'all, I would encourage you to just cut the corner off of your corner of glue as opposed to trying to open it up. It might get a little messy if you do that, but if you just cut off the corner of your glue, and then I am going to just kind of pour that glue right into my bottle here. Just squeeze it all in. And that glue is going to act as a adherence for our glitter. You can see it going all the way down to the bottom. There's a part of me that wants to go all sciencey on you and tell you about what's really happening with that glue, but I won't. And then I'm going to cut off the corner of my glitter as well. Just cut that glitter corner off and pour that into my bottle. It's glitter, so it does get lots of places. All right, and so I've got the glue in and the glitter in, and now we're just gonna shake it back and forth. And mine is clumpy. It'll get less clumpy as the more you shake it, but you'll be able to see that I'm making that same glitter jar that I have here in glass. See how the glitter is kind of floating to the bottom here? It'll do the same for you. So if you find yourself finding your brain a little muddy, shake your glitter jar and then let it calm down. As we wrap up this session, I just want to thank you all for joining us and wish you well. Any final thoughts from Jill, Dawn, or Megan?
You know, my big reminder is if you're in that space, think about what are things that bring you joy. So what are those things you love? So what are the smells you love? What are the sights you love? What are the activities you love? And if you find yourself in a place where you're like, I'm feeling just not quite like myself, think about some of those things you love. And hopefully that will help you start to think about what could I do to help me feel a little better, and use one of these techniques to maybe get you to a space where you're feeling a little more centered.
I would encourage you to treat yourself kindly. Sometimes we do a really nice job of treating others with kindness, which is wonderful, and we need to do that. But speak to yourself as you would your best friend. And I want you to treat yourself at least as good as you would your houseplant. We need sunlight, we need water, we need fresh air, we need a sense of belonging. So be kind to yourself.
And I would say, don't ever hesitate to reach out and talk to others. It's always a good thing to connect with others and talk about your experiences or talk about those feelings you're having. And so never hesitate to reach out and talk to others.
And remember that your local extension office and your 4-H office is there as well. Finding somebody that you can talk to that you trust, whether that's a friend, a parent, or even one of us. Let us know, and just know that there's people out there. You're also not alone. If you're starting to feel like you're a little anxious or nervous, those are all normal feelings, and we all have them. So don't be afraid to name it and ask for help and talk with somebody. Enjoy your kits and stay well and be well.